I'm calling today's meeting to order, Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. Can we get a roll call, please?
Russo,
Here.
Baker, Tallman,
Here.
Swigard,
Here.
Vandergast.
Here.
The Board of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial body created by the City of Iowa City according to state statutes. The board's purpose is to decide on applications for variances from the zoning ordinance, appeals of decisions of city officials, and applications for special exceptions requested under the zoning ordinance. The Board of Adjustment is an independent volunteer board made up of Iowa City residents and is not part of the city administration. We are assisted in our work by the city attorney's office and by planning staff. Prior to this meeting, board members received the materials submitted by the applicants, the staff report reviewing the application, and any correspondence submitted by members of the public. Board members have not discussed the application or its merits with each other, staff, the applicant, or any other member of the public in advance of this meeting. All consideration and discussion by the board takes place in open meeting here tonight, where we also have an opportunity to hear from the public. The board bases its decisions on facts and evidence allowed by city code presented in open meeting. Concise and truthful testimony helps us a great deal in our decision making. We ask that if you wish to speak, that you come to the podium, print your name and address on the sign-in sheet, and speak clearly into the microphone so your testimony can be heard by all present and by our minute taker as all testimony becomes part of the public record. We ask that the proceedings be orderly and that when you are testifying, you address your remarks to the board. If this hearing becomes lengthy, we may ask that testimony be focused on new facts or on information not already presented. The order of proceedings for this application will be an oral report by staff summarizing the issues of the case and staff's recommendations, an opportunity for the applicant to speak, an opportunity for any other interested parties to speak for or against the application, an opportunity for final statements and arguments by the applicant and staff. The board will discuss the issues and evidence, state its findings, and vote on a motion. Motions are always made in the affirmative. We are here today to hear case VAR 26-0005, an application requesting an area variance to increase the maximum height for accessory structures from 15 feet to 48 feet to allow for the replacement of an existing deteriorated cross tower for parcel number 10132300001, located on East Court Street and in a low-density, single-family residential zone. I'm opening the public hearing. Staff report, please.
Good evening. My name is Sam Broderson, and I'm an associate planner with the Department of Neighborhood and Development Services. Tonight, I will be presenting VAR 26-5, an area variance application requested by Our Redeemer Lutheran Church to increase the height limit for accessory structures from 15 feet to 48 feet in order to allow for the replacement of an existing deteriorated cross tower at 2301 East Court Street. Here's an aerial map of parcel number 10132300001. The property is developed with a religious institution and a single-family dwelling. The property is zoned low-density single-family residential, or RS5 for shorthand. The surrounding properties are also zoned RS5. To provide some background, the subject property is located at 2301 East Court Street in an RS5 zone. The applicant is requesting approval of a larger site improvement project designed to improve site legibility, pedestrian circulation, and overall safety. The variance is being requested for the replacement of an existing cross tower to increase the height limit for accessory structures. Our Redeemer Lutheran Church has occupied the site at 2301 East Court Street since the 1950s. Major additions were constructed in 1963, 1967, and 1997. The existing cross tower was constructed as part of the 1967 addition process. In recent years, a structural assessment was performed which determined that the cross tower was significantly deteriorated, warranting a full replacement. And as a reminder, the modern height limitation for accessory structures is 15 feet. Here are some photos of the existing cross tower showing examples of the deterioration which warrants the full replacement of the structure. Here's a screenshot of the site plan submitted for the associated major site plan, case number SPD 2610. This plan shows the updates to the parking lot circulation and the new location of the cross tower, which is moving slightly west in order to accommodate for a new covered entry for the church. The Board of Adjustment is charged with approving with conditions, or denying the application based on the facts that are presented. To approve the area variance, the board must find that it meets all the applicable approval criteria. Over the next few slides, I will go over that approval criteria and how this project meets that criteria. The first criteria is that the proposed variance will not be contrary to the public interest. The proposed variance is not contrary to the public interest. Height limitations are established to ensure public safety, access to sunlight, and to preserve community character. The church is a long-established religious institution, a use which is allowed within the RS5 zone, and has served the surrounding neighborhood for several decades. The existing cross tower has served as a prominent component of the community since its construction in the 1960s. The proposed cross tower is an established neighborhood landmark at substantially the same height, form, and visual character as the existing tower. A full replacement of the cross tower is necessary for the safety of users based on a structural assessment of the existing wooden tower. The new material of weathered steel was intentionally selected to reflect the tones of the existing stained wood structure, complement the brick tones of the primary structure, and to blend with the surrounding neighborhood. The second criteria is, owing to special conditions, a literal enforcement of the zoning code provision will result in practical difficulties to the property owner in making a beneficial use of the property allowed by Title 14. There are special conditions in which a literal enforcement of the zoning code would result in practical difficulties. The existing cross tower has been a prominent component of the religious institution's campus since its inception in the 1960s. Modern height limitations for accessory structures would limit the ability of the church to replace the cross tower at its current height. The zoning code does not allow for alternatives that would allow accessory structures to exceed the current 15-foot height limitation. If the church was unable to replace this long-standing architectural feature at its established scale, it would diminish the church's ability to maintain the character, function, and identification of its campus. In staff's opinion, this criterion is met. The third criteria is the practical difficulties faced are unique to the property and not self-created. The church has occupied this site since the 1950s, with major additions constructed in 1963, 1967, and 1997. The existing cross tower was constructed in 1967 and predated the current zoning regulations, which limit the height of accessory structures to 15 feet. The cross tower has served as a prominent feature of the church's campus and the surrounding neighborhood for nearly 60 years. The practical difficulties arise from a combination of several property-specific conditions. The long-standing religious institution's use of the site, the presence of an existing neighborhood tower which predates the zoning code's current height limitations, and the structural deterioration of the existing cross tower, which warrants a full replacement of the accessory structure. The church's location in a single-family residential zone, the original construction of the existing cross tower, and the tower's structural deterioration occurred over decades and largely predates current zoning code regulations. These conditions create the necessity of replacement of the deteriorated cross tower with a long-term solution. In staff's opinion, this criterion is met. The fourth criteria is that the spirit of the zoning code provision shall be observed and substantial justice done. The spirit of the zoning code is outlined in the description of the RS5 zoned in section 14.2A.1b, creating a predominantly single-family residential neighborhood with supporting uses well integrated into the neighborhood fabric. The existing cross tower is an accessory structure supporting an existing religious institution, a use allowed within the RS5 zone. Allowing long-standing elements to be renewed and continue to serve the neighborhood character aligns with the spirit of the zoning code in supporting the decades-long neighborhood fabric. Denial of this variance application would require the removal or substantial reduction of the defining element of the church's campus and a prominent neighborhood feature. As a result, substantial justice would be served for both the property owner and the surrounding neighborhood if the variance is granted. In staff's opinion, this criterion is met. The fifth criteria is that granting the variance will not significantly alter the essential character of the neighborhood. Granting the variance will not significantly alter the essential character of the neighborhood. The existing cross tower predates the current zoning code height limitations, and the cross tower has helped define the essential character of the surrounding neighborhood. The character of the surrounding neighborhood was largely developed from the mid-1950s to the 1970s. City High School sits to the northwest of the parcel and contains a 3+ story primary structure with an 80-foot tower. City High School, the church, and the existing cross tower are related non-residential uses that contribute to the livability of the residential neighborhood. Although they are not identical in the scale and pattern of nearby mid-century single-family homes, they have helped shape the neighborhood character as complementary neighborhood features for decades. In staff's opinion, this criterion is met as well. Staff has received one piece of correspondence related to this application, which is included in the agenda packet. Today, staff is recommending approval of VAR 26-5 to allow for an increase to the maximum height for accessory structures from 15 feet to 48 feet to allow for the replacement of an existing deteriorated cross tower at parcel number 101-323-0001 located on East Court Street. That concludes the presentation, and I now turn it over to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board to staff?
No questions.
No? Okay. Then I will ask the applicant to go ahead and present your proposal, please.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Evans, and I'm an architect with Newman Munson Architects, and we're submitting this variance on behalf of Our Redeemer Lutheran Church. Sam and the staff's overview of the variance covered it quite well. There's little to fill in the gaps, but we can, happy to answer questions as they come up. To address the one piece of correspondence, I think there was a bit of confusion on that one, being that there has been a 48-foot cross tower there for going on 50 years now, or 60 years now, excuse me. Again, with each of those 5 criterion met, that we in the church believe that this is an acceptable variance that would benefit the church and its neighborhood. So, happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the board to the applicant?
Just to confirm, the existing tower is 48 feet, is that right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
It has been removed because it was a structural liability. So if you drive by now, you can see a chopped version of that. That's, a temporary solution. But up until this spring, it was 48 feet. Yep.
Our staff report mentions that a Good Neighbor meeting was held, but I didn't find any results from that meeting. Can you briefly describe what happened and if you had attendees and?
Sure. Yep. So that was the end of July, and Sam was there from the city. We could forward attendance, but we had about 6 or 8 community members that joined us there, and there were concerns aired, but nothing regarding the variance, nothing regarding the height of the cross, yeah, it was just a means of educating
What were the concerns?
about an air conditioning unit volume.
Oh,
So,
I don't see that in this.
yeah. So, and then when I went up there and clarified that, the variance will just be about the cross tower height, then it was like, oh, well, shucks.
You're not gonna put an air conditioner at the top of this thing, right?
That's not the plan, But yeah, it was a successful Good Neighbor meeting in July.
All right, thank you.
And I see that beyond safety of just the structure itself being deteriorated, it's also a safety for people loading and unloading passengers that this addresses. And is this also, I know you previously housed 2 child care programs. I think you're down to 1 now. So yes, safety for children all during the week then too, I understand.
Yes, the primary function of the child care takes place on the lower level, so they mainly use a different entrance, but that's even part of a broader project of this to have smoother and protected entries. So there'd be an additional canopy down near the main child care entry. But yes, this is relocating this, replacing the deteriorating cross structure is all a part of having better site pedestrian safety.
Is there anyone here from the public that wishes to speak about the application?
I just wanted to say good evening. I'm Reverend Dr. Brent Hartwig. I'm the pastor at Our Redeemer. I've been there since 2008 for 18 years now. And as I go around the community and talk to people, one of the primary things they say, oh, you're the church with the tall cross tower across from City High. When we had the Good Neighbors, it was about 6 to 8 homes that were represented. We heard thanks for hosting and being a voting location. We heard thanks for other things that we do in the community, offering the homecoming parade and the place to park and watch the parade go by and all of that. The cross tower is part of the primary character of the congregation. It is one of the things that we are known for in the community. Besides peaches and pancakes and cookie walks, we are known for the cross tower. So, any questions for me?
Is it lighted?
It is.
It is.
Yeah, it has been lit.
Is it lighted the entire length, or is it just at the top, a safety light, or?
No, it is lit the entire length from the floor up.
And are those lights on all night, or how does that work?
Yeah, they have the lights that are on the tower we just took down were on all night long. Yes.
Will there be a change to the lighting at all in this project?
Andrew would be better at answering that.
I can speak to that. So previously, there was one floodlight pointed up at the cross on at all times, or all times in the evening. And it is being replaced with a series of more subtle lights that have shields on them. And so that's been a part of the site plan review process with Sam and the city. And so I believe that is all good to go there. And so we've got some lights that are targeted at the tower itself and others at the cross. And the reason that you go from 1 floodlight to 6 smaller lights is just to be more targeted and shielded and all of that rather than.
So this is actually less likely to have intrusive light on the surrounding homes.
Correct. And the lighting is updated with better tech. So if they want to have different timers or dial back the intensity or those sorts of things as well, then they can do so.
And it's also LED, right?
Yep.
So that was this spring, we only had one light that was not LED because we worked with the city and the climate action team to replace all of our lighting so it would all be LED. The one non-LED light was the halogen floodlight on the cross. So when we switch to the new cross tower, we'll have all LED lighting. So we will, as a congregation, be 100% LED lighting.
If I can just add to that briefly, as Andrew mentioned, we have gone through their outdoor lighting for the larger major site plan approval, and everything that's been submitted is in compliance with our outdoor lighting standards, including like shielding and light trespass and things like that.
Good evening. I'm Myral Holliday. I'm the chair of the Cross and Entrance Committee. One thing I wanted to mention and address further, you had asked a question about safety. And this is a steel beam, three-legged structure buried deep with cement, much, much stronger than the wooden one would have been before. So the concern about the preschool and such, I think that's totally negated. They've looked at shear winds and things like that, and this will withstand probably a tornado. So I think they addressed this very well with Newman Munson.
Good to hear.
Okay. Are there any other questions or any other comment from the public? All right. Staff, do you have any additional comments?
No additional comments from staff. Thank you.
Okay. Any issues that the board wishes to have more clarity? Any final questions, or are we satisfied? Okay, great. I'll close need a motion to close the public hearing?
A motion to close the public hearing.
Second? Okay. All right, any discussion?
Well, as far as finding of facts, I think that, obviously this is an improvement in safety, improvement in light intrusion for the neighbors, and maintaining the an existing structure that is identifying for the neighborhood and the church, that all these have been clearly defined, and I'm satisfied with those.
All right, as am I. Okay, I will ask for a vote, and we'll do
We need
We need a motion
a motion.
to approve variance.
I'll get my wording here.
Motion to approve the VAR 26.
Yeah. So I move to the approval of VAR 26-0005, an application requesting an area variance to increase the maximum height for accessory structures from 15 foot to 48 feet to allow for the replacing of an existing deteriorating cross tower for parcel number 10132300001, located on East Court Street and in a low-density single-family residential RS5 zone.
Second.
Okay, now we vote. Roll call?
If there's any further discussion? No? Okay. Then you can call the
No?
vote.
Okay.
Russo.
I'm sorry.
Russo.
Yes.
Baker. Tallman.
Yes.
Swigard.
Yes.
Vandergast.
Yes.
Thank you.
Actually, We skipped the findings of fact.
Well, I guess I discussed it out of order.
Sure, I mean, I think the staff report lays it out pretty clearly, so if you want to essentially adopt the findings of fact and the,
Do we need a motion?
no, I think that's fine if you just sort of ratify the findings that,
Yeah, I agree to adopt the findings of fact.
great.
Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you. I think we're,
To read the motion.
do I have to read the motion is declared approved.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for all you do for the community.
It's our pleasure.
Thanks. You know what? That findings of fact has confused me every time.
It's
It's different than P and Z.
One more time and I'm out? Okay. Aren't, you're yeah, then it's your turn.
This is
volunteer?
new that there's a
Two more
cheat
times
sheet. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, consideration of minutes from our last two meetings. Any comments?
No, I'd say I would rather not read through the whole thing again.
That was a difficult one.
That was a lot of reading.
Yeah.
I move to approve the minutes of the July 8th, 2026 Board of Adjustment meeting.
I'll second that.
And can I make a motion to approve the July 22nd notes of our meeting?
Is that a voice vote or?
Well, I don't think as the chair you can make
Oh,
that
No.
motion, right?
I'll
But
motion to July
There's
22nd,
already a motion on the floor.
amend to include.
Well, Paula made the motion, right? So if you wanted to amend your motion, you could.
So I amend my motion to state, I move to approve the July 8th, 2026 and the July 22nd, 2026 Board of Adjustment meeting. Minutes.
Second.
That's good.
the minutes are approved.
Well, we got to have a vote.
Got to
now.
vote.
Is it roll call again?
I don't think so.
I think it's
We
all
can
those
just
in
say by
favor say
motion.
aye.
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 Oh, Robert's rules. He makes our life complicated.
It does.
So antiquated.
We adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.